You guys want to see some serious heavy haul? Check this out. So it's a Kenworth T800. What looks like a tri-drive with a Callan Seabird trailer. 3-axle Jeep. I repeat, 3-axle Jeep. Check out the the height of the trailer. What is this guy hauling? You know, it's basically he's hauling whereas there's no restriction in terms of height, because this is even taller, maybe the same height as my step deck. And then he has a 3-axle in the back, and of course it's all modular, so it can be disassembled. And then in the back again he has another 3-axle spreader. So what? 333, that's 12 plus 4, so 16 axles, ladies and gentlemen. 16. Oh, and he has airway. He has an airway gauge. His plates. Yeah, somebody asked me about my comments about the step deck trailer, and actually, believe it or not, I thought about this before. I hope the wind is not too bad to screw up the audio. And I'm just about to leave this Russell, where are we? Kansas. And I saw a bunch of these guys come in yesterday. There was also a trailer like this. I guess they have some oil fields over here. Sorry, let me just put my bag in. Yeah, and I spent the night over there. You can see in the distance that roof, not the first one, not this one, but that one. That's Days In. It was very nice. Lots of I don't know, 500 channels on the TV. Okay, hold on, let me grab my oh, here we go. This way it's easier. I see my little thing. Yeah, sorry for the delay. I decided to look for my GoPro camera because I want to show you guys some rural Colorado I'll be going through today. And I thought I better charge it. Started looking, cannot find it. Like Jesus, I had a feeling like I lost the cell phone, you know. It turns out, and yeah, and I had this. I had my headband, right, like with the empty thing. Like, what the heck? And so I never. It's always either there or in my bag. But because it's, you know, without the frame, it's kind of like small and sleeky. And it turns out it slipped. When I flipped my backpack, it slipped from one compartment to the other and was buried under the charging cable for the laptop. So now I'm charging it. You see the guy showed up. So this guy is so big, empty, he needs an escort, right? Because he's over 80 feet. I think up to 80 you don't need an escort. But see, that's kind of lights. You see like the lights on this car? That's what I want to get on my truck. And check out this guy, like the truck itself. On top of the oversized load, he has a sign, kind of like the same size as what I have. But anyway, so let me go check my load because I'm about to start moving, and we'll talk about the it's a bit windy over here. I know the mic on this thing is not very good, but anyway, so of course first you got to decide that on the size, you know, 53. Okay, where the wind is coming? Oh, from there. Okay, like the flag is blowing this way. Alright, so I gotta protect the camera. So yeah, first you gotta decide, of course, on the size. And I think nowadays there's no reason to go with a 48 step, because you need at least 40 at the bottom. And then once you decide to get 53, you gotta decide how to split it, right? Most people just get a very short upper deck, like 10 feet, so that they have the maximum over here. So that's what this trailer has. And then but what I talked to many people about this when I was buying my trailer, and one guy said an interesting thing. He says when it's too short, it's not very usable. you know, when it's longer, you can put, you know, your tops and your stuff in here in the front. So I personally like 11-foot long upper deck, because also you see how close this is. It's hard to move the fifth wheel too much to the front. Like when you have 11 feet long deck, this you have a bigger swing radius, so you can at least play with your fifth wheel if you have a super super heavy load. Now this is very interesting because the deck is so high. Look at this. See, I'm standing here. That's my waist. That's my finger. So where my t-shirt ends. So this is taller than normal. Usually it should be 40 inches from the top to the bottom, and then this thing becomes bigger. So when it's Jesus, this wind, right? Been blowing all day yesterday. So this drop, the height of the drop is important because the taller the deck is, the smaller this one is, right? Because your fifth wheel is fixed position, and this makes it easy to load farm tractors where you have to move the front axle over here. But like I said, I think normally it should be 40 feet, and aluminum is fine, but I'm not a big fan of aluminum floor. It's so easy to, you know, I think wood is more practical. And then this trailer has stake pockets in here. I mean, not stake pockets, but it has these things where you put stakes, right? I guess for pipes or something. And I would just get winches on one side. This kind of a carrier for dunnage is a great idea. I think on mine I had like kind of like a rack, like a storage compartment without a top. Stake pockets are good. You need stake pockets to put your chains around. Oh, nobody stole my light. See, the escort yesterday helped me secure this. I changed the batteries. Yeah, as for axles, for me in Canada I would get 3, because this gives you flexibility for oversized, overweight loads, but I would never get such a big spread. Like this is 72 inches, the maximum. In Ontario, Canada only, you get extra weight, but it's not very practical for tires. I would say most useful is 60 inches, then it becomes shorter, and I would put a lift on the middle axle and the rear axle, so that when I'm light I can travel only with 2 axles, you know. And this is interesting also. As you can see, they moved the whole wheel group is towards the truck, because this could have been in the very end, but actually I like it because this way you see how I was able to back towards the curb, and this way my truck does not stick out too bad. So I would just keep this over here, like at around 40 feet from the kingpin, but just move this to 60 inch. Just to give you an idea, that's what they're all using in Western Canada, because in Western Canada you don't get any extra weight for 72 inches, so they all use 60. And that's it. And I would get winches only on one side, and then on the other side, because this trailer has winches on both sides, and it makes it difficult to hook up the strap or chain. Like on my trailer, I expect there's a special thing they can install for straps. You know, when you buy, the cheapest strap to buy is with the one with a flat hook, and so you can ask them to install instead of this rail over here. See how they have extra this rail? Right, but it's very difficult to hook up to this because it's very thick on this side. So instead of this, they could install a special plate where you can attach your straps. I like that. Now these ones, never buy these. Like these very flimsy locks should buy something with two, kind of like what they use on drive-in trailers. At the top and the bottom, there's like two locking things, right? Like, I always see trailers that have these fancy toolboxes. They put bungee cords around them because eventually this starts opening, you know? And as it became the routine with this Mack truck, my morning starts with pumping iron. Or to be more accurate, priming the system. So that's our handy pump in there with the green knob. Oh boy, here we go again. See how easy it is? That means there's air. And I don't want it there. Now it's very hard. I think we're good. Now we should start from the first turn of the key. Check this out. Now we have this pleasant low-key beeping. Okay, I want to know the name. I want to know the name of the engineer who designed this, and I want him to be sent to Siberia, to maximum security labor camp. Yeah, not from the first start, but not too bad either. Alright, so while it's heating up, I'm gonna tell you about my route for the day. Yeah, here we are. I'm just using my TomTom over here. And we're in Russell, Kansas. I thought I made a mistake earlier when I said I was in, what did I say? Missouri? No, Missouri was yesterday. We went through Kansas City, Missouri. And I couldn't go here because this town is Hays, Kansas, is 20,000 people. And Kansas has a very interesting rule. It says that from 4, like in the morning, 7 to 9, and then 4 to 6:30, you cannot go within the city limits of any town with a population of over 10,000 people. And I'm like, how am I supposed to know, right? Which one has over 10,000 people? But this Hays looked pretty big on the map, and I looked it up. It says 24,000, and I figured that I would be there. It's like 1 hour, less than an hour from here. So I stopped here. It was 4:45 local time. But this town, Russell, is only like 4,500 people. So I can drive through here anytime. But Hays, Kansas, it's considered the biggest town in Kansas, in the northwest of Kansas. You could not go here there. So I didn't want to wait till the 6:30 was, you know, the curfew was over, because I still have lots of time. I have to deliver Monday. But so we're gonna go like this. It's this is exit 184, which means that we are 184 miles from the border with Colorado, right? And this line over here, that's Colorado. And then I'll be going through some, not straight to Denver, thank God, but I eventually have to get to 25 over here. But they're sending me on kind of like this over here, like what is this? Oh yeah, I forgot that I wrote it all down. So that's how I'll be going. So I-70 into Colorado to exit 437. Then I take 385 south to 40 west to 287 south to 50 west to 350 west or south. And then it's like a small portion is like 169, but basically 350 already pretty much connects with 25 south. And that's, so I get on 25 only at the very bottom, pretty much like a few miles north of the border with New Mexico. And I just spent some time at the McDonald's over there with a free Wi-Fi. I got some espresso. You know, nowadays I don't even bother asking them to do an Americano and waste 15 minutes explaining how they should mix espresso and hot water. Was basically in Canada, each McDonald's already has Americano in their menu. Like all they have to do is just they push the button. You don't have to explain anything. But in the States, for some reason, they still don't have this, even though they all have espresso machines nowadays, right? So this time I decided to be smart about this. I said, just can I have 2 espresso shots in its own cup, and then I want to have a large cup of hot water. The guy looks at me, he says, that's it? I said, yeah, that's it. You don't charge for hot water, right? He says, no. And so I got that, and then I made sure there was enough space in the hot water, just poured out a little bit, and I added espresso in there. Voila, and I have Americano, my own Americano. It tastes pretty good, not too strong, not too weak. But anyway, I went there to do this research, to write this down, because I wanted to know, to look on the map, to try to remember all the turns. And now I'll just keep my TomTom in this mode where I can see the position of my truck, because I remember from the time I spent behind the laptop, like, well, this exit, the first 437, there's a big Love's truck stop in there. So once I enter Colorado, I'm gonna stop there